Konnichiwa minasan. O genki desu ka? Welcome to my channel. Let's learn Japanese with Eric. If you would like to learn Japanese for work, travel, or simply personal interest, please subscribe to my channel and watch the videos in chronological order. All lessons are written in both English and Japanese, so if you read Japanese, you can follow along reading the Hiragana alphabet. If you haven't learned the Hiragana yet, you can learn them all in one afternoon by going through lessons 1, 2, and 3. Otherwise, you're perfectly fine following along using the English transliteration. So let's begin. Hajimemashou. If this is your first time to study Japanese verbs, I suggest you watch lesson 25 first to get a general idea of how Japanese verbs are categorized. And if possible, watch lesson 26 first as well, which is on category 1 verbs. This lesson is on category 2 verbs, which are also regular verbs. There are 9 kinds depending on the hiragana ending of their dictionary forms. When conjugated into the basic 10, the last hiragana is not dropped, but changes to something else in a very predictable pattern. They are also not difficult to conjugate once you know the rules. Here are the 9 kinds of endings for the category 2 verbs. They are also called U-type verbs or Godan verbs by conventional textbooks. They're grouped here according to the similarity of rules in verb conjugation. You have ku and gu, su by itself, bu, mu, and nu, and ru, tsu, and u endings. This lesson is about those category 2 verbs that end in bu, mu, or nu. In this lesson, we will learn how to conjugate last hiragana-changing verbs, whose dictionary forms end in bu, mu, and nu. For the bu and mu endings, we will conjugate 2 verbs, and then I will introduce you to 8 more commonly used verbs for a total of 10 verbs for each kind of ending. For the nu ending, there is only 1 verb in the whole Japanese language that ends in nu. By the end of this lesson, you'll know 21 new verbs. We will also practice making sentences with these verbs. Again, as a sort of review, the 10 basic verb conjugations cover the plain forms and formal forms, both containing non-past and past tenses, in the affirmative and negative. Then we add the te form and the conjunctive form for a total of 10 basic verb conjugations. And here are the general rules to conjugating category 2 verbs. The plain non-past affirmative is simply the dictionary form of the verb. As always, it means will do. The plain non-past negative is formed by changing the last hiragana to the A series and adding nai to form will not do. And the past tense of that is simply changing nai to nakatta to form the plain past negative, which means did not do. To form the formal, the last hiragana changes to the I series and you add mas. Once you know that, the others fall neatly into place. Mas changes to masen for the negative, changes to mashita for the past tense affirmative, and to masen deshita for the past tense negative. Removing the mas leaves you with a conjunctive form as before. Then we have various endings for the plain past affirmative, which is directly related to how the te form is formed. Just as in the earlier lesson on ku, gu, and su ending verbs, here what you need to pay particular attention to: the hiragana ending of the verb. To form the plain non-past negative, the ending changes to the A series, then you add nai. And to form the formal, the hiragana ending changes to the I series and you add mas. So the ending bu changes to ba to form the negative, and it changes to bi to form the formal forms. Mu changes to ma to form the negative, and mi to form the formal forms. Nu changes to na to form the negative, and ni to form the formal forms. And to form the plain past affirmative, all 3 endings, bu, mu, and nu, all change to nda to form the plain past affirmative, and nda changes to nde to form the te form for these three verb endings. Let's put these rules to practice in the next slides. Bu ending verbs are the fourth kind of category 2 verbs that you're learning, so we have the number 4 up in the upper left corner. Let's conjugate the verb to call, which is yobu. This is to call in person and not on the phone. Dictionary form yobu is also the plain non-past affirmative. It means calls or will call. The key here again is to pay attention to the hiragana ending, which is shown here in green. Anything before it stays the same. To conjugate to the negative, bu changes to the A series, which is ba, and then we add nai to form yobanai, which means doesn't call or won't call. To form the past tense, and this is true for all verbs and adjectives, the nai always changes to nakatta. Yobanakatta means did not call. To form the formal, the bu changes to the I series to be, and we add mas to form yobimas, which also means calls or will call. Then the others easily follow. To form the negative, mas changes to masen, yobimasen, meaning doesn't call or won't call. Past tense of yobimas is yobimashita, meaning called. And the past tense of yobimasen is yobimasen deshita. Masen changes to masen deshita. And dropping the mas gives you the conjunctive form, which is yobi. And the bu ending changes to nda to form the plain past affirmative, yonda, meaning called. And nda changes to nde to form the te form, yonde. And this is how it looks like in Japanese. Yobu, yobanai, yobanakatta, yobimasu, yobimasen, yobimashita, yobimasen deshita, yobi, yonda, yonde. Yobu and yobimas both mean the same, calls or will call. Yobanai and yobimasen both mean the same, doesn't call or won't call. Yonda and yobimashita both mean the same, called. And yobanakatta and yobimasen deshita both mean the same, did not call. The next bu ending verb is hakobu, which means to carry. Dictionary form hakobu is also the plain non-past affirmative, carries or will carry. Negative, bu changes to the A series, ba hakoba plus nai hakobanai. Past tense, nai changes to nakatta, hakoba nakatta. To form the formal, bu changes to be plus mas, hakobimas, and the others follow. Hakobimasen, hakobimashita, hakobimasen deshita. Dropping the mas yields the conjunctive form hakobi, and bu changes to nda to form the plain past affirmative, hakonda, and nda changes to nde to form the te form, hakonde. And this is how it looks like in Japanese. Hakobu, hakobanai, hakobanakatta, hakobimasu, hakobimasen, hakobimashita, hakobimasen deshita, hakobi, hakonda, hakonde. Hakobu and hakobimas both mean carries or will carry. Hakobanai and hakobimasen both mean doesn't carry or won't carry. Hakonda and hakobimashita both mean carried. And hakobanakatta and hakobimasen deshita both mean did not carry. Besides yobu and hakobu, there are 8 more commonly used bu ending verbs. Asobu means to play. Erabu means to choose. Manabu means to learn. Musubu means to tie or bind. Sakebu means to shout. Tobu means to fly. And another tobu using a different kanji means to jump. And Yorokobu means to be happy, referring to other people's happiness. Let's play around with the conjugations by making sentences. How do you say in Japanese, the boy carries the bag over there? Plain style. Otoko no ko ga kaban wo asoko ni hakobu. Otoko no ko ga kaban wo asoko ni hakobu. And using formal style, Otoko no ko ga kaban wo asoko ni hakobimasu. Otoko no ko ga kaban wo asoko ni hakobimasu. The verb to choose is erabu. How do you say in Japanese? Dad won't choose an expensive car. Plain style language. Otou-san wa takai kuruma wo erabanai. Otou-san wa takai kuruma wo erabanai. And using formal language, Otou-san wa takai kuruma wo erabimasen. Otou-san wa takai kuruma wo erabimasen. The verb to shout is sakebu. How do you say in Japanese? He shouted help. Plain style. Kare wa tasukete to sakenda. Kare wa tasukete to sakenda. And using formal style, Kare wa tasukete to sakebimashita. Kare wa tasukete to sakebimashita. Next, let's look at how to conjugate mu-ending verbs. The verb to read is yomu. The dictionary form yomu means reads or will read. Conjugating to the negative, mu changes to the A series ma, and then we add nai, yomanai, which means doesn't read or won't read. Past tense, nai changes to nakatta, yomanakatta, did not read. To form the formal, mu changes to the I series mi, and we add mas, yomimasu. The others follow, yomimasen, yomimashita, yomimasen deshita. If we drop mas, we form the conjunctive, which is yomi. To form the plain past affirmative, mu changes to nda to form yonda. And the te form is yonde. Nda changes to unde. And this is how it looks like in Japanese. Yomu, yomanai, yomanakatta, yomimasu, yomimasen, yomimashita, yomimasen deshita, yomi, yonda, yonde. Yomu and yomimasu both mean reads or will read. Yomanai and yomimasen both mean doesn't read or won't read. Yonda and yomimashita both mean read. And yomanakatta and yomimasen deshita both mean didn't read. Another very common mu-ending verb is nomu, which means to drink. Conjugating, we have nomu. To the negative A series, noma, nomanai. Past tense, nakatta, nomanakatta. Formal I series, nomi, nomimasu. And the others follow, nomimasen, nomimashita, nomimasen deshita. Dropping the mas gives the conjunctive, nomi. And mu changing to nda gives you nonda, past tense. And the te form, nda, changes to nde, nonde. Once more in Japanese, nomu, nomanai, nomanakatta, nomimasu, nomimasen, nomimashita, nomimasen deshita, nomi, nonda, nonde. Nomu and nomimasu both mean drinks or will drink. Nomanai and nomimasen both mean doesn't drink or won't drink. Nonda and nomimashita both mean drank. Nomanakatta and nomimasen deshita both mean didn't drink. Besides yomu and nomu, other common mu-ending verbs are fumu, to step on, fukumu, to include, komu, to be crowded, Nusumu, to steal. Sumu, to live in a place. Tanomu, to ask a favor. Tanoshimu, to enjoy. And yasumu, to rest. Let's play with the conjugations by making sentences. How do you say in Japanese? Will you read the magazine? Magazines is zashi. Using plain style language, anata wa zashi o yomu. Anata wa zashi o yomu. When using plain forms, you say questions with a rising intonation. And using formal style language, anata wa zashi o yomimasu ka? Anata wa zashi o yomimasu ka? The verb to live in a place is sumu. How do you say in Japanese? She won't live in Tokyo. Plain style, 彼女は東京に住まない。彼女は東京に住まない。And using formal style language, 彼女は東京に住みません。彼女は東京に住みません。The verb to rest is yasumu. How do you say, because she was busy, she didn't rest? If you remember our lesson on adjectives, was busy is isogashikatta. Plain style language, 忙しかったから彼女は休まなかった。忙しかったから彼女は休まなかった。And in formal language, 忙しかったから彼女は休みませんでした。忙しかったから彼女は休みませんでした。The last verb we study for this lesson is nu ending. In the whole Japanese language, there's only one verb that ends in nu, and that verb is shinu, which means to die. The dictionary form shinu means dies or will die. To conjugate to the negative, the nu ending changes to the A series, which is na, and then we add nai to form shinanai, which means doesn't die or won't die. To form the past tense, nai changes to nakatta. Shinanakatta means did not die. To form the formal, nu changes to the I series to ni, and then we add mas to form shinimas, which also means dies or will die. Then the others easily follow. Shinimasen, shinimashita, shinimasen deshita. Dropping the mas, we form the conjunctive, which is shini. To form the plain past affirmative, mu changes to unda to form shinda, which means died. And the te form nda changes to nde to form shinde. And once more in Japanese, shinu, shinanai, shinanakatta, shinimasu, shinimasen, shinimashita, shinimasen deshita, shini, shinda, shinde. Shinu and shinimasu both mean the same, dies or will die. Shinanai and shinimasen both mean the same, doesn't die or won't die. Shinda and shinimashita both mean died, and shinanakatta and shinimasen deshita both mean didn't die. Let's practice making sentences. How do you say vampires don't die? Vampire is kyuketsuki. Plain style, 吸血鬼は死なない。吸血鬼は死なない。And in formal style, 吸血鬼は死にません。吸血鬼は死にません。How do you say in Japanese? Everybody dies someday. Everyone is minna or minasan. Someday is itsuka. In plain style, みんなはいつか死ぬ。みんなはいつか死ぬ。And in formal style, みんなはいつか死にます。みんなはいつか死にます。How do you say, who died? Plain style, 誰が死んだ？誰が死んだ？Again, plain form questions are said with a rising intonation. And using formal style, 誰が死にましたか? 誰が死にましたか? To summarize, in this lesson, you learned how to conjugate bu-ending verbs. The dictionary form is the plain non-past affirmative. To conjugate into the negative, bu changes to ba and add nai. Past tense is simply changing nai to nakatta. To conjugate to the formal style, bu changes to the I series be and add mas to form the non-past affirmative. To form the negative, mas changes to masen. To form the past affirmative, mas changes to mashita. And to form the past negative, masen changes to masen deshita. Dropping the mas leaves you with a conjunctive form which ends in b. Te form is formed by changing bu to nda. And nda changes to nde to form the te form. You also learned how to conjugate mu-ending verbs. Dictionary form is the plain non-past affirmative. Conjugating to the negative, mu changes to ma and add nai. The past tense is simply changing nai to nakatta. To conjugate to the formal styles, mu changes to the I series mi and add mas to form the non-past affirmative. And the rest follow. Mas to masen, mas to mashita, and mas to masen deshita. Dropping the mas leaves you with a conjunctive form that ends in mi. Mu changes to nda to form the plain past affirmative, and nda changes to nde to form the te form. And lastly, we learned how to conjugate the verb shinu, which is the only nu ending verb in the whole Japanese language. Dictionary form shinu is the plain non-past affirmative. Conjugating to the negative, nu changes to na and add nai, shinanai. Past tense is changing nai to nakatta, shinanakatta. And to form the formal, nu changes to ni, add mas, shinimas. And to form the others, we have shinimasen, shinimashita, and shinimasen deshita. Dropping the mas yields the conjunctive shini, and changing nu to nda yields the plain past affirmative shinda, and te form nda changes to nde, shinde. We also learned to make sentences using simple verb tenses in the plain and formal styles. In total, you learned 21 commonly used verbs that end in either bu, mu, or nu. Multiply that by the 8 different ways you can now conjugate, and that gives you a verb vocabulary of 168 verbs in this lesson alone, not to mention the 480 you already know with the ru-dropping verbs and the ku, gu, su ending verbs. With your knowledge of the particles, adjectives, nouns, and pronouns, you can actually say a lot of things now. In the next lesson, we will tackle how to conjugate the last set of Category 2 verbs, those verbs that end in ru, tsu, and u. If you're serious about becoming fluent in Japanese, it's important to practice daily, learn grammar, and build up vocabulary. My whole course is designed to give you a strong basic foundation in the Japanese language that you can build solidly on. So please click like, share, or subscribe, and watch the next video in the series. 日本語の勉強に頑張ってください。じゃあ、またね。